Happy New Year. Today's practice, you'll need to have a couple of blankets and a chair, a bolster, a block or a couple of blocks, and also one of these belts. And so once you've got your props, you can set up your blankets just as I have back here. So 2 folded blankets or even 3 if you have any tightness in your hips, your back or your knees. Take extra height. And then you can sit up on your blankets. I'm going to stay close to the camera so that we can chant the 3 Ahs together. So once you've found your seat and you can sit with your legs crossed, bring your thumbs to your armpits and start to draw the backs of your armpits forwards and upwards towards the fronts of your armpits. And then relax your shoulders. And as you keep the armpit chest lifted, also broaden your collarbones from the center of your chest out to the left and to the right side. And now, maintaining that, join your palms together at your chest and close your eyes from top to bottom. Now on your exhalation, release your head down, bring your hands down, turn your palms up, and then raise your head up with your eyes closed and gently open your eyes. We're going to begin with a couple of supine or lying down poses. So you'll need to have a bolster and potentially a blanket. You can clear your mat and take the bolster in this direction. And we're going to start off sitting at the front of the bolster on the floor and then lengthening and lying back over the bolster. And you can have your legs bent for this pose, but again, you're going to broaden your collarbones and allow your arms to rest and release to the side so that you can open your armpit chest area. If you need to put a blanket under your head, if there's tension in your neck, you can go ahead and do that. So this is the first position that we'll work on. The next one, you'll move the blanket if you're using one and lift yourself up and come a little bit further onto the bolster so that the buttocks are lifted and the back of the neck is hooked on the back edge of the bolster so the head is unsupported but the neck is supported. And then again, you'll just let your legs be bent and release your arms away to the side, elbows on the floor. And then when you go a little further, it will be to move head first until your shoulders come close to the floor, if not on the floor. The back of the head can release onto the floor. And again, your arms can relax, shoulders relax, elbows are down. And again, you can keep your legs bent. When you come all the way back, you'll slide yourself back and then lift up and move the bolster away to the side. And then you can roll over to your right side to come on all the way up, okay? So go ahead and take this position so that you'll have your bolster. Make sure that you have a runway towards your head side because that's the side that you're going to be moving towards. And then sit on the floor a couple of inches in front of your bolster. Have a blanket close by if you think you may need one. And then lengthen your back body over the bolster and let your head come down onto the bolster or onto the blanket support. And then let your arms release to the side. So once you are in this position, relax your legs, but keep your legs bent. But relax your shoulders. And see if you can't release your shoulders downwards towards the floor and feel the weight of your elbows as they come to the floor. And this opening, gradual opening and spreading of your armpit chest. And take a couple of long exhalations to do this. Complete exhalations. And let your inhalation fill your armpit chest, your side chest, and your exhalations be complete. Relax your face, relax your eyes, soften even your jaw. But above all, let your shoulders and your arms release and see if you can't find a spreading and opening into the sides of your chest. Now the next part of this, you'll push with your feet and then lift your buttocks up and slide yourself onto the bolster so that your buttocks are raised and your head is supported. If you need extra support, you can use the blanket underneath your head, but you'll also release your arms to the side, keeping your legs bent. You can stay in the pose. I'm just rolling to the side so I can come closer to the camera. But let your shoulders relax once again and let your elbows release to the side and down. Take full, complete exhalations. And at the end of your exhalation, see if you can let your shoulders relax just a little bit more, a little bit further. And now slide yourself off until your shoulders come to the floor. Keep the legs bent, feet on the floor. And you may need to adjust the back of your head, the back of your neck. Eyes can be open or closed. So this is a variation of Setu Bandha, bridge pose. We're going to stay in this pose, this particular variation, just for a little bit longer. And I wanted to read a couple of pages from Desika Chow's book, The Heart of Yoga, where he describes the obstacles to practice. The obstacles to a yoga practice are there for all of us. Patanjali describes these obstacles as rocks lying on the path traveled by someone who has set off on the yoga journey. The student is constantly stumbling over them, making detours or getting stuck. Let us consider these 9 obstacles and see how they come about. The 9 obstacles listed by Patanjali are illness, lethargy, doubt, haste or impatience, resignation or fatigue, distraction, ignorance or arrogance, inability to take a new step, and loss of confidence. And they are manifested in symptoms like feeling sorry for oneself, a negative attitude, physical problems, and breathing difficulties. Obviously, it is an obstacle to my practice when I feel unwell or am ill. Vyadhi, illness, disturbs the mind so much that I must first do something to improve my health before I can go on. Another obstacle that directly affects my state of mind is subjection to my moods. Sometimes I feel good and I know I can tackle anything. At other times I might feel lethargic and lacking enough energy to do anything. This heaviness and lethargy, sthana, can be caused by eating too much, eating the wrong kinds of food, cold weather, or by the very nature of the mind. But for some people, doubt is the greatest obstacle to progressing in yoga. The doubt Patanjali speaks of is samshaya, a regular and persistent feeling of uncertainty. As, for example, when we are in the middle of doing something and suddenly ask, how shall I go on? Is it worth it, even for another day? Perhaps I should look for another teacher, or maybe I should try another way altogether. This kind of doubt undermines our progress in yoga. Sometimes we act hastily and carelessly, especially when we want to reach our goal quickly. Pramada, haste, can create problems. Acting in haste, we slip back rather than make progress. Because we have not spent enough time analyzing and reflecting on what we are doing, we grind to a halt in our practice. Another obstacle is a kind of resignation or exhaustion, which we call alasya. It manifests in such thoughts as, perhaps I'm not the right person to be doing this. And there is a lack of enthusiasm and little energy. When this happens, we must do something to regain our motivation and enthusiasm. Lack of enthusiasm is a serious obstacle on the yoga path. The next obstacle can crop up when our senses gain the upper hand and begin to see themselves as masters rather than servants of the mind. Sometimes this happens without our even noticing it, which is hardly surprising, since from birth we are trained to look here, see this, listen to that, taste this, touch that. It can easily happen that the senses take over out of habit and little by little steer us imperceptibly in the wrong direction. Avirati, distraction, is a great obstacle. But the most dangerous of all obstacles occurs when we think we know everything and we imagine we have seen the truth and reached our zenith, when in reality we have simply experienced a period of calm that makes us say, "This is what I've been looking for. I found it at last." But the feeling of having reached the top rung on the ladder is an illusion. Illusions like this are very common. This is Bhranti Darshana. Another stumbling block can arise when, just as we've been thinking we've made some progress, we suddenly notice how much there is still for us to do, and we grow disappointed, and we become fickle in our moods, and we have no interest in trying again. We start saying, "No more for me. I thought this was it, but I feel like a fool. I just don't want to go on." This is called alabdha bhumikatva. As you see, the 9 obstacles can consist of ordinary realities, such as a physical illness, or they can be as subtle as an illusion of doing better than you really are. When you become aware of the illusion you have been harboring and look reality squarely in the face, it is all too easy to view yourself as smaller and less important than you really are. And this leads to a loss of confidence, the last obstacle described by Patanjali. You may have reached a point you have never reached before, but we sometimes lack the power to stay there and fall back, losing what we have gained. Patanjali calls this anavashtitvani. These are the obstacles that may be encountered on the yoga path. We do not necessarily meet them in the order I have described, and not every student has to deal with them. But at no stage on our path should we think we have become masters. Rather, we should know that the feeling of being a little better today than yesterday exists just as much of the hope that we will be a little better in the future, and that these feelings will come and go until we reach the point where there is no better and no worse. So carefully move yourself now, either rolling to your side or slide further back until your hips have come to the same level as your shoulders. And just rest there for a few breaths. The support underneath your back body has created an imprint, a piece of information that allows for more awareness and opening of the front body, more opening to your armpit chest. So now roll over to your right side and come on up. And you're going to take Tadasana. Clear your mat of all of your props. And stand with your feet just a couple of inches apart. And lift and spread your toes. And can you take this lift and openness to your armpit chest that you did when you were lying down on the bolster? Broaden your collarbones to the left and to the right side. And keep your arms alongside the side of your body. There is a lift upwards through the sides of the chest, but also an extension downwards evenly through the front and the back edges of your feet. There should be an evenness through the inner edges of the feet and the outer edges of the feet, and then a lift upwards from the arches to the knees to the thighs, upwards to your side chest, your armpit chest. And then from this position, turn your palms to face forwards and continue to rotate your palms until they start to face outwards. And then maintain that turn of your palms as you reach your arms now out and up to Urdhva Hastasana. Extend evenly downwards through your feet and then lift upwards through the sides of your chest, upwards to your fingertips. And then exhale, release your arms to the sides and come on all the way down. And then you can let your arms relax for a moment. Now keep your armpit chest lifted and open. Rotate your palms to face forwards And then as you rotate your palms to face the outside edges, can you turn your forearms? Can you also turn your upper arms from inner to outer? And notice the effect. And the effect can often be felt in your armpit chest, that the armpit chest feels bigger, feels more expansive. So maintain that, and on your exhalation, release your arms out and up. Still keep your armpit chest lifted and straighten your arms and reach upwards through your wrists towards your fingertips. Extend downwards evenly through your feet and upwards evenly through your hands. Exhale, now release your arms to the sides to come on all the way down. Now stand in the center of your sticky mat and bring your feet all the way together. We're taking Utthita Trikonasana, extended triangle pose. So bring your hands to your chest, lift your armpit chest without looking down, bend your legs and step or jump out to the side. Take your feet 3.5 to 4.5 feet apart and turn to your right side. Your left foot turns in, bend your right leg, rotate the right leg out to the right. And on your exhalation, bend over your right leg. Hand can come down onto your shin or ankle. And now bring your left hand onto your left hip. Now lift and lengthen your chest from the front of your pelvis, from your navel all the way to the top of your chest. And now start to turn the left side of your chest, that left armpit chest, upwards towards the ceiling. And see if you can turn the left armpit chest up to move your left shoulder a little further back behind you. Exhale, turn the left side of your chest up and move from your shoulder even to your left elbow, further and further back. And keep your chest lifted as you stretch your left arm to the ceiling and pull from your left arm. Inhale and come on all the way up. And now turn your feet forwards and then turn to your second side. Right foot turns in, bend your left leg, turn the left leg to the side. Exhale, now go over your left leg. Bring your right hand onto your right hip. Both legs stay straight. Now lengthen from the navel area all the way to the top of your chest. And now start to turn or lift the right side of your armpit chest upwards towards the ceiling. And I use the word turn because it almost feels like it's a twist. And as you turn this right side of the armpit chest to the ceiling, roll the right side of the chest towards your shoulder. And then turn and move the right side of the chest to move your shoulder and your elbow back towards the wall behind you. Can you move your buttocks ever so slightly forwards? And turn the right side of the chest up to move your right elbow slightly further back. And now keep this openness in your chest and reach your top arm to the ceiling. And then pull from your top arm, inhale and come on all the way up. And then turn the feet, bend the legs, and then step or jump your legs all the way together. Lift upwards through your armpit chest. Release and relax your shoulders. Broaden your collarbones to the left and to the right side. Now our next pose is going to be Utthita Konasana. So you may need to take a block for this pose. You can take a block on each side of your sticky mat. But once again, stand in the center of your mat and bring your hands to your chest. Now bend the legs, high jump, long jump out to the side. Keep your chest lifted. Take your feet wide and then turn your left foot in, bend the right leg and turn the right leg out to the side. On your exhalation, take a deep bend to your right leg. Reach over and bring your right hand now down onto the block. And once again, your left hand at your left hip. Now fully extend your left leg and pull your left outer heel onto the floor. And now lengthen your chest in the opposite direction to your left heel. Lifting again from your navel to the top of the chest. Now, as you did before, can you work to turn this left side chest, armpit chest, upwards towards the ceiling? And do this on an exhaling breath. And observe how this turn of your armpit chest upwards towards the ceiling will also draw the right side of your rib cage forwards. The right side of your armpit chest will come closer to the front of the room as you turn the left side of your chest towards the ceiling. And now reach your left arm up, rotate the palm to the right side, extend the arm all the way over by your ear. And now pull from your top arm, inhale and come on all the way up. And now turn the feet forwards and take your second side. So you'll turn your right foot in, turn your left leg out, move the block if you were using a block. Now on your exhalation, bend your left leg and reach over, bring your left hand now down onto the block. Right hand stays at your right hip. Now straighten your right leg and press down into the outside edge of your right heel. Keep a deep bend, 90-degree bend to your left leg. Now, what happens to the top part of your chest? Can you work to rotate and turn it? And this is where we start to come through some of these obstacles. Because to turn the side of the chest upwards towards the ceiling requires not only effort, but also awareness and understanding. And that work to rotate the side of the chest upwards towards the ceiling also involves turning the left side of your ribs forwards and move back from your right shoulder to your right elbow. And now extend from your right heel and stretch your right arm all the way up and over by your ear. And see that you don't lose this openness in your right side armpit chest. And now pull from your right arm, inhale and come on all the way up. Turn your feet and bring the legs together. Just watch for a moment. We're going to take the pose again. And you can see as well as I can that when we bend and take this 90-degree bend to the front leg and bring the hand down onto the block, that the torso turns in the direction of the floor. So this second time, to help us turn the chest away from the floor, you see I'm placing the block to the inside edge of the foot. And you can take the block lower, and some of you may not even need to have a block. You can bring your fingertips to the floor. But from here, the elbow is going to slightly bend and push into the knee and the shin. And then from there, I'm going to use the pressure of the elbow moving into the shin to turn the chest upwards towards the ceiling. So my elbow pushes back, and then I rotate the chest upwards towards the ceiling like so. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. Bring your fingertips to your chest, and then bend the legs and high jump, long jump out to the side. Turn to your right side. Left foot turns in, right leg turns out. Now exhale, bend your right leg, reach over, and either bring the fingertips of the right hand onto the floor to the inside edge of the foot, or you can bring your right hand onto a block. Now keep your left leg straight and keep your left hand at your left hip. Now bend the elbow and push back into your right shin and your right inner knee. But at the same time, turn the left side of your chest upwards towards the ceiling and draw the right side of your ribs forwards, upwards to the left side of your ribs towards the ceiling. And do this continually. And do this with a complete exhalation. So inhale, lengthen and lift your chest. And then on that exhalation, complete exhalation, turn and turn and turn. Now stretch your back heel to the floor and then reach your left arm up. Rotate the palm, extend the arm all the way over by your ear. Now inhale, come all the way up from there. Now to turn the feet, if you're using a block, just watch because the block will have to move when you turn to the second side. And then right foot turns in, left leg turns out. On your exhalation, bend your left leg and then reach and bring your left hand down to the inside edge of your left foot, either on the block or fingertips on the floor. Now lengthen again from your navel to the top of your chest. Bend your left elbow so that it stabilizes or resists the movement of your knee as you turn your chest forwards, so that your inner left thigh lengthens to your inner left knee. At the same time as the left side ribs turn to the right side ribs upwards towards the ceiling. And do this again with complete exhalations, because it's at the end of that exhalation that will give you a little bit more movement, a little bit more ability to overcome some of the obstacles in the body and even in the mind, which prevents us from turning the chest upwards towards the ceiling. Now stretch into your back heel and then reach your top arm all the way up and over by your ear. Now keeping the chest open, pull from your top arm, inhale and come on all the way up, and then turn your feet, watch out for the block, and then step or jump your legs all the way together. Now this time, join the feet completely as one. Keep your inner heels together, and then just take a moment to be in your armpit chest. I went through that list of these obstacles, the antarayas as they're called, because it's interesting to observe in our practice when we hold ourselves back, or when we say, I'm going to do this another day. And it's at the beginning of a new year, and all of us come to a new year, especially this new year, with tremendous hope, and we've all experienced challenges that are beyond anything we could possibly have considered experiencing. But yet here we are, and our practice gives us an opportunity to challenge ourselves all the time in such a way that teaches us more about ourselves and where we are stopping or halting or backsliding, where we have doubt, where we have insecurities. And yet we come back again and again to these very essential actions. And we work with those essential actions because they work time and time again to bring the mind to a state of presentness. Move your block away to the side, and we're going to take Prasarita Padottanasana. Now, if you could just watch before we go into the pose, there is a variation in Light on Yoga of this pose where he has his feet ever so slightly turned out, and that's the one that we're going to start with today. So bring your hands to your chest, bend the legs, and then step or jump your legs out to the side. Take a wide distance and then turn your feet out ever so slightly. Now bring your fingertips or your thumbs, up to your armpit chest, and now start to draw the backs of your armpits forwards and upwards to the fronts of your armpits. Broaden your collarbones. And now keep that much lift and bring your hands back to your hips. Now we worked a little bit like this in triangle pose, where we were moving the collarbones out, the armpit chest up, to draw the shoulders and the elbows slightly back. So go ahead and do that. And as you keep lengthening and lifting through your front body, drive your back ribs slightly closer inwards, and then lengthen from your sternum bone upwards towards your chin. From your navel to your sternum bone, upwards towards your chin, even upwards towards your eyes. Now, when we take the forward bend, you'll turn your heels out, turn your toes forwards, and maintain this front body extension as you come to the concave spine variation of Prasarita Padottanasana. If you need to bring your hands onto blocks to touch the floor, go ahead and do that. And you can also bring yourself up onto your fingertips. Now move your shoulders away from your ears and move your hips also away from your ears. Shoulders back, hips back. But then have a slow, steady extension forwards of the backs of your armpits to the fronts of your armpits. And keep moving forwards from there. And imagine that you had that bolster in your back body like we started with today. And it was creating more length through your front body. And use your full, complete exhalations to make that extension, to increase that extension through your armpit chest. Broaden your collarbones to the left and to the right side. For the last few breaths in this pose, pull your hands back without moving your hands and lengthen your side chest forwards. Let your head be neutral. Don't look up, don't look down, just look directly forwards. And then from here to come on out, bring your hands to your hips, keep this lift to your armpit chest and bring yourself up to stand. And then you can heel toe or jump your legs all the way back together for Tadasana. Catch your breath. We're going to be taking Adho Mukha Svanasana and moving from Adho Mukha Svanasana to Urdhva Mukha, from downward dog to upward dog. So if you have any sort of shoulder conditions or back conditions that might prevent this from working for you, what you're going to do is take a chair and put the chair at the wall. You can use a mat or not. And it's important that the chair is stable at the wall. And then you would go from a downward facing dog variation like this, and then swing all the way forwards and come to upward facing dog like this. So you're moving from this pose. Notice I turn my hands out to come to this pose, and the arms are straight up and down. And then you lift your hips up to come on down. In the absence of a chair, you'll just do this in the center of the room. So everybody find your position and start off, those of you in the center of the room, with your hands on the floor, and angle your index fingers forwards today. Those of you on the chair, you'll just bring your hands onto the chair. And now press downwards through your hands and then lift your knees up and come into Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. And as you straighten your arms, take these complete exhalations and straighten your legs. And press the fronts of your thighs to the backs of your thighs. And see if you can't reach your ankles back, the tops of your shins back, the middle of your thighs back. And at the same time, draw your chest also back towards your legs. Now from here, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana, upward facing dog. So swing all the way forwards, come onto the tops of the feet. The arms are straight up and down. Now shoulders move away from the ears and also away from the front of your chest. Drive your hands down, press the feet and the ankles down, and now lift your armpit chest higher. Lift the armpit chest more. And see that your thighs stay lifted. Your inner knees stay lifted. Your inner legs extend towards your big toes. And the armpit chest and the toes extend away from each other. And then lift your hips up and come on all the way back to Adho Mukha Svanasana. Keep the arms straight. And now pull upwards from your inner forearms to your inner upper arms to your shoulders. And taking these long, complete exhalations, press the fronts of your thighs to the backs of your thighs. And then once again, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana, swing forwards. Come onto the tops of the feet. Those of you on the chair, make sure you turn your hands out and your arms are straight up and down, completely vertical. Now those of you on the floor, hands pressed down, feet and ankles pressed down. Straighten your arms, straighten your legs, and now roll the shoulders back. Turn your inner upper arms to your outer upper arms, and now take your armpit chest forwards, reaching upwards from your navel to the top of your chest, and then from your inner thighs to your inner heels to your big toes. And then exhale, come back, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Now reach back with the center of your thighs, complete exhalations. Press back from the fronts of your ankles, from the tops of your shins, from the middle of your thighs. Take your chest towards your legs. And now last time, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana, come forwards. Press your hands down, press your feet down. Keep the legs straight. So the fronts of the thighs lift up. The feet and the ankles press down. Spin and turn your inner upper arms to your outer upper arms. And drive downwards into the floor and lift upwards through your armpit chest. Now, if you can, bring your knees to the floor and tuck your toes and walk your knees a little forwards and roll your shoulders back. And then re-extend your legs again. Press the feet and the ankles down, lift your thighs up, rolling your inner upper arms to your outer upper arms, and lift your armpit chest more from there. And now exhale, come back, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Long extension from your hands to your feet. Draw upwards from your inner upper arms towards your shoulders. Take your elbows away from the floor. And on your exhalation, take your chest towards your legs. And then move from your shins to your middle thighs, back towards the wall behind you. And then everyone exhale and come on down or walk forwards towards your chair. All right. You can recover in Adho Mukha Virasana, or you can come on up and stand in Tadasana. For those of you who do Salamba Shirshasana, this is going to be our next pose. And you may have a practice in the center of the room or at the wall. So you can go ahead and set up for that. Your sticky mat will be folded in 4. I'm going to go through the basic setup for it in case some of you are curious to try it and have not tried it before. And if you're not taking headstand, you're going to be taking Supe, Tabata, Konasana. So you will need to take a bolster and a couple of blankets. And one blanket will be for your head, and the other blanket will be for your legs, right, to support your thighs and to support your shins. So this will be the position that you'll take if you're not doing headstand. You'll sit a couple of inches in front of the bolster, the soles of the feet come together, and you just take the blanket and put it over your feet, underneath your ankles, and then you'll pull back with your blanket, let the legs release. Once again, your armpit rest is supported, and you'll put a blanket underneath your head, and just let your arms release to the side. And to come on out, you'll bring your legs together and roll over to your side. So those of you who are not doing headstand, go ahead and set up for Supe, Tabata, Konasana. And now those of you who are taking Shavasana, make sure your elbows are underneath your shoulders. Again, if you're not sure, you can just watch. The elbows are underneath the shoulders, and you'll interlace your hands all the way to the roots of your fingers. If you're using a wall, make sure that your fingers, and especially if you're new to this pose, make sure your hands are all the way at the wall. It's a little hard for you to see from there, so I'm moving a little further away. But from this position, before you go up, just watch for a moment. The crown of the head will come down, and then I have to raise the shoulders, so you'll see how my upper arms become more vertical. So rather than being here, I see if I can move them more to this angle. And then as I lift and raise the knees up, rather than letting the chest collapse and my back ribs collapse, I have to lift up more with my upper arms, lift up more with my shoulders to take the back ribs away from the wall behind me. And then you can come up one leg at a time or both legs at a time into Salamba Shavasana. To come on out, you have to keep lifting up through the shoulders, lifting up through one leg, and then you'll exhale and come down. And rest with your head on the floor. Those of you who are using the wall, you'll bring your feet and your heels to the wall when you're up. So if you're not doing headstand, you're doing Supe, Tabata, Konasana, you can go ahead and come into that pose. But those of you who are working in Shavasana, bring your elbows down, bring the elbows so that they're as wide as your shoulders. And then interlace your hands all the way to the roots of your hands and lightly cross your thumbs. Make sure that your hands are not in a fist. So if you're not sure, I'm showing in the camera here, so it's not this position with your hands or even this position, but there is a triangle shape between your hands, your wrists, and your elbows. Now anchor your forearms down, bring the crown of your head down, and then tuck your toes under, raise your knees up. Now, as you walk your feet closer towards your head, can you move your chest closer towards your legs? Lift your shoulders up and press your back ribs strongly into the body, just as you are working in upward facing dog. Can you take upward facing dog in your chest? And then maintain that as you walk in and take one leg up and then the other leg up, or both legs up at the same time. Now, if you've got your feet at the wall, your heels at the wall, keep walking your heels higher and lift your shoulders more. The anchor are your forearm bones. So press downwards through your forearms, lift upwards through your upper arms, and take your back ribs away from the wall behind you, and then stretch your legs straighter. So the legs are Tadasana legs, or a combination of upward facing dog legs and downward facing dog legs. The fronts of your thighs reach upwards towards the ceiling. The backs of your thighs reach upwards towards the ceiling. And the inner edges of your legs, from your inner thighs upwards to your inner ankles and heels, continue to rise. Now, all of these actions and instructions that we hear in these postures are designed to help us in the posture, yes. To give us information, yes. Information is only a part of it. The real practice starts to come with knowledge. And with that knowledge comes an awareness of our obstacles and what holds us back, what can push us forwards, where the doubts are, where we think we know something when in fact we need to study it a little bit more. And none of these are with any judgment at all. They are compassionate tools with which to deepen our understanding of ourselves. So as you take these poses and hold these poses, we just observe within ourselves. What am I doing here? Where can I go there? How can I bring more clarity here? How can I bring more energy there? How can I let go a little bit more here? What is holding me back? How can I employ some of these tools of practice to give a deeper sense of awareness and understanding of where I am and who I am today? Now, to come out of your headstand, reach one leg much, much higher if you're coming down one leg at a time. Keep your shoulders lifted, and then on your exhalation, come down and rest with your head on the floor. And those of you who are in Supe Tabata Konasana, you'll use your hands on your outer thighs and bring the legs together, and then you will roll over to your right side. And you can join your colleagues in taking Adho Mukha Virasana, this forward bend, this extended child's pose. All right, and then from here, come on up. You're going to need a sticky mat that's opened up like this one. And you can open up a blanket to place the blanket like this on the sticky mat. And we're taking a pose called Shavasana, right? Locust pose. So once you're down, once you've set up your props, you'll lie down on your front and you can let your forehead come to the floor and then reach your arms alongside the body. I'm going to give you a couple of moments to get into this position. Now, once you're down on your front body, raise your right leg up just a little bit and stretch it further back like you were working to stretch the leg up the wall in headstand. But stretch it straight back and turn the inner part of the thigh towards the ceiling and then bring the leg down. And then repeat that on the left side, extending the left inner leg further away and upwards towards the ceiling. Now from here, lift your shoulders and broaden your collarbones. Now on your exhalation, you'll lift your arms, you'll lift your legs, you'll lift your chest and look forwards. And then exhale and come on down. Take a breath in and then again, complete exhalation. And then from here, go ahead and go on up. This time, hold it for a full breath. Arms and legs straight. Pull your arms back towards your legs. Lift your thighs up and lift your chest up. And then exhale and come on all the way down. Now this last one will hold for 3 breaths. So on your next exhalation, lift up. And now inhale and extend your arms and legs more. Now broaden your collarbones and lift your armpit chest forwards as you stretch your arms back and see if you can't get your thighs to lift higher. And then exhale and come on all the way down. Those of you with knee issues that prevent flexion to your knees, you can repeat Shavasana, but otherwise you get to bend your legs for Dhanurasana. So again, you're on your center front thighs, turn the inner thighs towards the ceiling, and then you'll bend your legs and hold on to your ankles. Hold on tight and wrap your thumbs around next to your index fingers. On your exhalation, again, complete exhale, lift up. And now reach the inner edges of the feet higher and higher and higher. And all you have to do is keep going up. Lift your thighs, lift your shins, lift your ankles, lift your toes, and all of that will help you lift your chest up. And then exhale and release and come on down. Once again, Dhanurasana. Be careful that you don't grip the buttocks too quickly and don't drive the middle buttocks and tailbone down too fast. Because for some of us, it stops the lift of the pose. So let everything be about lifting upwards. Again, exhale and lift up, and exhale and lift up. And drive your back ribs forwards and upwards to open your side chest. And as you take these complete exhalations, continue to grow and lift upwards, taller and taller. Thighs lifting, shins lifting, ankles lifting, toes lifting, arms lifting, chest lifting. And then exhale, release, and come on all the way down. You can release your legs now and rest your forehead on your hands. Take a couple of breaths. And then come on up. So roll to your side and come on up. And we're going to be setting up for Savangasana, Salamba Savangasana, coming in from Tadasana. So those of you who don't do shoulder stand, you can do the first part of this. And I'm going to show what we'll do and how we'll set it up. So you'll need to have 3 blankets. I'm folding the mat in half here. And the 3 blankets will have the folded edges all facing the same direction. Notice I have the lower one to the edge of the fold of the sticky mat. And then the other 2 will be stacked up on the top. But notice here that they're ever so slightly stair-stepped so that the top one doesn't roll over the top. And then you can fold over your sticky mat like so. I'm going to give you a couple of moments to set this up. And then just watch. Your shoulders are on the blankets, and without looking to the left or to the right side, you'll take your thumb and measure the distance between the top of your shirt and the top blanket, or the shoulder and the blanket, and there should be about 1 inch of space. Don't look to the side, just you can feel this with your thumbs. So that's where your shoulders are going to stay. Your head is on the floor. Now from here, I have to reach around and either hold on to the edges of the sticky mat, or I might be able to lift my heels and hold onto my ankles, just as we did in Dhanurasana. So either this one or this one. If you're working with knee issues or shoulder issues, hold on to the edges of your mat, as it will give you a lot more space and room to work with those joints. But otherwise, as I said, you can raise the heels and even lift the buttocks a little bit to make that clasp. Thumbs again, wrap around with the index fingers, and then you're going up. So from here, I drive down into the feet and roll onto the tops of the shoulders, turning the inner upper arms to the outer upper arms, so that this armpit chest area gets fully exposed. So then from here, I'm going to keep going. We're going to do this a few times. And then those of you who are coming into shoulder stand, can you come into shoulder stand from here? So I have to lift my heels up, bring my hands to my back ribs, take one leg up, and swing myself up from here. When you come down, you can come down through Halasana and roll out. Those of you who are not going up, you get to repeat Tadasana. So we're going to do that pose, this 4-footed pose as it's translated, a couple of times for everybody. And then those of you who are not doing shoulder stand will do it a couple more times. So have your shoulders on the edge of the blanket, head is on the floor, feet are separated, and feet are quite close to the blanket. Make sure that they're not off the edge of the sticky mat. Measure the distance of your shoulders to the edge of the blanket. And then either reach around and hold onto your ankles and make sure that your thumbs wrap around with your index fingers. Or you get to hold on to the side edges of your sticky mat. Now press your feet down and raise your buttocks up. And then roll onto the tops of your shoulders. We started class today working to open the armpit chest, and it's been a recurrent theme. And that recurrent theme almost acts like a thread, a continuity of awareness. And every pose brings up its own set of obstacles. And so every pose, in certain ways, is a guide, is a teacher. Where can I find this action in this pose? What do I have to do? So once you've got yourself right up onto the tops of your shoulders and your outer shoulder bones are down on the floor, then from here, press your feet down and press your shoulders down and lift your buttocks up and lift your back ribs as high as they will go. Make sure that your face is soft, your eyes are quiet, but take these complete exhalations. Prashant Iyengar would say about the breath that the inhalation gives us energy, but it is the exhaling breath that gives us power. So take a full, complete exhalation and let it lift your back body away from the floor. And now exhale and release and come down. Take a moment, take a breath. And then once again, hold on to the side edges of your mat or hold on to your ankles. Wrap your thumbs all the way around next to your index fingers if you're holding on to your ankles. And now those of you who are holding on to the ankles, lift your heels a little bit. And now use that to lift yourself up a little bit higher. So once you're up on the ball mounds of your feet, hold on tight to your ankles and roll onto the tops of the shoulders from there. And then do it a few times. Turn your inner upper arms to your outer upper arms and pin your outer shoulders down onto the floor and then raise your buttocks higher. And with your heels lifted, you can lift your buttocks up. Those of you holding on to the edge of the mat, before you lift your heels, hold on tight to your mat. Don't let go. But then you can also lift your heels. Everyone raise your heels up to raise your buttocks up, to raise your back ribs up and roll onto the tops of your shoulders more. And now don't let the buttocks drop. Don't let the back ribs drop. Keep lifting from there and now lower your inner heels down faster. And then see if you can hold the pose by lifting your toes up and even lifting the ball mounds of your feet up to get more drive and lift to your back ribs to lift and open your armpit chest. And then exhale, release and come down. Take a breath. Now, those of you who are going into shoulder stand, you're going to see if you can come into shoulder stand from this pose. If you can't, you can come over to halasana and go on up. But see if you can try this. So much of our practice involves moving from what we know to what we don't know. And all of that is involved with these obstacles. So as Desikachar mentioned, that the obstacles don't end up being good or bad or difficult or easy. He says the feelings will come and go until we reach the point where there is no better and no worse. There just is. Those of you who are not doing shoulder stand, repeat Chatush Tadasana. So begin again. Start off holding onto the mat or holding onto your ankles. And now raise your heels. And as you lift your buttocks up, lift your back ribs up, roll onto the tops of your shoulders. Keep rolling, keep turning. Inner upper arms to the outer upper arms. And pin your outer shoulders to the blankets. And now raise your back ribs up, raise your buttocks up. And now those of you who are going up into shoulder stand, keep your heels lifted this time. Bend your elbows, bring your hands to your back, and take one leg up at a time and swing on up. And if it doesn't work the first time, try it again. And then once you're up, press your shoulders down and walk your hands further down your back ribs. And now stretch your front thighs upwards and straighten your legs. I'm calling the legs Tadasana legs. And they are a balance between the upward dog legs and the downward dog legs, which means the back of the legs and the fronts of the legs have to extend up straight. And the more lift you can get through your armpit chest, And the more you can work to move your back ribs into the body using your hands, the more extension you'll get upwards through your front thighs. So that this pose becomes candle pose, as it's often referred to in children's yoga classes. There is no bend in the middle. Pull your buttocks strongly in, take your back ribs strongly in, and press your shoulders down as you reach your legs up. Those of you who are in Tadasana, you're repeating all of those instructions that you did before, and then you can go ahead and come on down. And then those of you in shoulder stand, take a few more moments here and continue to lengthen up and lift up and lift up and lengthen up. And observe again that every posture is just a toolkit to observe your obstacles. And we seek to overcome these obstacles through our practice. There are no shortcuts. We come back again and again and again with a fresh and open and compassionate mind to see if we can make a little bit more progress on this day. And now, those of you in shoulder stand, you'll come on down. You can come through Halasana, bring one foot to the floor, bring the other foot to the floor, release your hands, and then roll down with control. And then everybody slide yourself head first back until your hips come to the same level as your shoulders. And bring your legs to a cross-legged position on your blankets. And just rest there for a few breaths. Relax your legs. And just absorb for a moment all of your transformation. And the transformation that's come from your work. And whether you enjoyed the pose or you didn't enjoy the pose, whether you'll do it again or you'll never do it again, is of no consequence. Because you get to observe where you are in this moment. Not better or worse, just where you are. Now switch the cross of your legs. And take these complete exhalations. Not that your breath has to be forced at all, but completely exhale your breath. And relax your arms and relax your legs. And now you're going to bring your legs together and roll over to your right side. And we're going to take Shavasana now. So you can open up your mat and take a blanket for your head. And you can take a bolster underneath the backs of your knees or the backs of your thighs, if that's your usual practice. But here's something just a little bit different. You see how I've taken the blanket and opened it up this length, this size, and I'm literally going to take one side of it and roll it, the most tiniest roll. And it would be easier to fold it, but the fold doesn't work so well. So you want to roll it. And then you'll position the roll towards the blanket where you're going to be placing your head. And notice that there is a space between the head blanket and the blanket that's going to go underneath your armpit chest. As I said, you can always put a bolster underneath the backs of your thighs and the backs of the backs of your knees if you need to. But watch this for a moment. When I lie down, I have to position the roll not under my waist or even my ribs, but all the way up to the back of the armpit, right here. So you can see there's a space for my shoulder to release down in between the blanket that's for my head and the blanket that is supporting the armpit chest. And then the arms will extend out to the side. You can lift up and lengthen the buttocks in the direction of the heels. And as I said, a bolster can go underneath the backs of the legs, or you can just rest your legs like so. The palms will face upwards towards the ceiling. And if you can just watch for a moment, the position of the head should be that the forehead is releasing slightly in the direction of your chin. So if you're tighter in your upper back, you might find that you need to add another blanket underneath your head. But this is a position you'll be taking your Shavasana in. When you come on out, you can bend your elbows and remove your elbows anywhere they need to be. Bend your legs one at a time, and then you'll roll to the right side and bring yourself up to sit. So I'm going to leave this set up here. Those of you who are tighter in your upper back, make sure you have perhaps an extra blanket to go underneath your head. Cover yourself if you're cold. It's important that this narrow roll go directly underneath your armpit chest, to the back of your armpits, so that it will cross around your upper back, the area that Gita describes as the T8, T9. And she describes this area as being directly behind our spiritual heart. And it's this spiritual heart that gives us courage. It's interesting that the French word for heart is cœur, from which we take our word courage. Make sure that the lower back is long and you can lengthen the top area of the buttocks towards your heels. Let your legs extend away and relax completely. Use a support underneath the backs of your thighs or the backs of your knees if you have any tightness in your lower back. And similarly, make any adjustments so that the back and the front of your neck are long and that you can relax and soften your neck and your jaw and your shoulders. Close your eyes. And very softly, gently, take these complete exhalations. Let go everywhere and let loose everywhere. Let your legs release away towards your feet. And let your shoulders release towards your hands. And completely soften your hands. Relax your jaw. Soften your tongue. And completely let go of your cheeks. And let your eyes release towards your temples. Soften the space between your eyebrows. Mr. Iyengar writes in Light on Life about this pose that Shavasana is about shedding. And we have many layers, skins, thoughts, prejudices, anxieties, preconceptions, ideas, memories, and projects. Shavasana is about shedding all of this. And we shed all of this to lose our identity for a few minutes. And just be with our heart. The seat of the soul. The part of us that is unchanging. Always there. Always giving. Bend your elbows now, one at a time, and let your hands rest somewhere on your torso that gives comfort to you. Move your elbows anywhere that is comfortable for you. And then bend your legs one at a time. And roll over to your right side. And lift your head last of all as you come up to sit. Close your eyes for a few moments. When you're ready, you can join your palms together at your chest. And just be with the you that is always here. Namaste. Thank you for coming today. I wish you a compassionate new year, both to yourself and to others. I'll see you soon.